Yo, what's up, beautiful people? You're now tuned in to the Gifted Frequency Podcast. What you gonna do? Sit with me or move with me? The choice is always yours, but this is a special one. This is track 10, the album. Let me just say, if you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. I hope the podcast has blessed your spirit in some way and raised your frequency. This episode feels different because this isn't just another track. This is the why behind the music, the bridge between everything we've talked about on the podcast and what you're about to hear in sound. The music inspired by the Gifted Frequency Podcast album comes out this Friday, December 26th. Music has been with me for as long as I can remember. Before the podcast, before titles, before life got complicated, I started writing back when I was a teenager, writing to make sense of things I didn't yet have words for, writing to process pain, joy, confusion, love, writing because it felt like the safest place to put my truth. And a lot of dreams, like a lot of dreams, I should say, life happened. Responsibilities, survival, expectations. The dream didn't disappear. It just went quiet. But here's the thing I've learned. A dream deferred is not a dream denied. See, this podcast actually reopened that door for me. Every track we talked about, fighting, choose yourself, feeling distracted, finding home, a better way. Those weren't just conversations. They were emotional reminders. This album exists because this podcast reminded me who I've always been. Some might ask, why now? Because timing matters. Not just personal timing, but collective timing. We are living in a moment where people are searching again for meaning, for truth, for peace, for something real. And technology, for the first time, is actually catching up to imagination. I realized I don't have to wait for perfect conditions to create. I just have to be honest. This album isn't about chasing an industry moment. It's about honoring a personal one. So let me kind of talk about the process of making the album, because transparency matters to me. So I wrote every lyric, every melody. It started as a feeling, a line, a thought, a memory. I sung all the songs. And then I used AI as a creative collaborator, not a replacement. Or I should say collaborator. But think of it like an instrument, a tool. So kind of like, before drum machines were created or before Pro Tools was a thing. You know, this before, digital, it was analog. So it's a progression in the way things are created, and it's a tool to use. And I've always been more of a writer and a melody creator, so I can sing enough to create a melody, enough for a singer to come behind me and hear what I'm doing with the song and be able to sing it. I do the ad libs, I do the harmonies, all that. So it's just a tool, and it's a way to bring ideas to life that were already inside of me. The intention was never to sound artificial. The intention was to feel human. I wanted the music to feel, like late night thoughts or quiet drives or sitting with yourself, healing without explaining, letting emotion breathe. If something made me feel something, I kept it. If it didn't, I let it go. That was the compass. I went through a lot of versions of these songs to make sure it sounded right. And, to touch on a few songs briefly, you've heard Alone, hopefully by now. So that song, is about those quiet moments when you're alone and the ones nobody claps for you, or where you're holding everything together internally. And that song just came to me, recently. And I started with the hook or chorus, whatever you want to call it. And then I started writing the verses or the verses. And it just came together real quickly and real beautiful. So, and it's a duality in that you have the male and female voice. So I wanted to start off with that and give people something to think about. And then Better Way, you actually heard a version of me singing it on a past podcast. And this is a song that I wrote many years ago when I was in a job that I didn't want to be in, and it was killing my spirit. And I just started at work actually singing this over and over and writing it down. And it became a song. And it was a time where, again, I hated where I was. I was grieving loss, trying to figure life out, all those things. And Home, you heard on the prior track of the podcast or episode, it's about finding community. It's not about the home from which you came, or it could be for you, like your parents and your family. It's more about once you turn into a teenager, an adult, and trying to find where you fit in and that you just belong there. Like, people are not asking for you to give anything but be present. You know what I'm saying? And then there's a track called Choose Yourself, and there was a podcast called Choose Yourself. Actually, the Choose Yourself track for the podcast is not released, actually. But the song is about choosing yourself, putting yourself first. It's okay to do that sometimes. So I did make this album for perfection. I made it for presence. If one song helps you breathe a little easier, one lyric reminds you you're not alone, if one moment helps you sit with yourself or move through something, then I did what I was supposed to do. This podcast planted the seeds. The album is the fruit. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for feeling. Thank you for growing with me. Again, the music inspired by the Gifted Frequency podcast is out this Friday, December 26th. Again, blessings. Keep the frequency high.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.